Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for joining us for Data Foundation for AI Agents in Healthcare, Interoperability and Governance. So my name is Rudresh Shunfal, Software Engineer at InspironLabs, and I will be your moderator for today's session. Today's conversation focuses on a challenge many healthcare organizations are actively navigating: how to scale AI beyond pilot programs into measurable real world outcomes. As AI adoption accelerates, one thing becomes very clear. The real differentiator is not just the sophistication of models, but the strength of the data foundation behind them. Healthcare ecosystems today still face several challenges like fragmented systems, limited interoperability, governance gaps, and inconsistent data quality, all of which impact innovation and ROI. Before we move forward, let me quickly walk you through today's agenda. Uh, Executive reality, AI adoption versus outcomes in healthcare, the business impact of weak data foundations, the root cause, interoperability, governance, and data quality and challenges. Third one is like the shift to AI agents and what it means for healthcare. Building scalable data foundations for AI, InspironLabs approach, and iHelios framework, case study and key business outcomes, the 90-day executive roadmap to get started, key takeaways and closing insights. And finally, we will be close with the Q&A session. So feel free to share your questions in the chat throughout the session. At Inspiron Labs, we work closely with healthcare organizations to design and implement interoperability governed, scalable data platforms, enabling AI to move from experimentation into production grade impacts. Let me now introduce our speakers. We have Amit Singh, Principal AI Architect, Healthcare and Data Platform, and Dhruv Suttar, Lead Consultant, Healthcare Data and AI Engineering. Together, they build deep expertise in building and scaling AI-driven healthcare systems and will share a practical outcome-focused perspective on what truly works in real environments. With that, I will hand it over to our speakers. Over to you, Amit and Dhruv.
So thank you, Ritesh. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to session. So today we are going to talk about something very important: data foundations. It may sound like a technical topic, but it's actually number one reason why AI projects succeed or fail in healthcare. We're not here to talk about fancy AI models. We are here to talk about what makes AI actually work in real healthcare setup. Let us start with the hard truth. Health companies everywhere are spending more and more money on AI, but the returns, they are not coming. Look at any big health, insurance company or pharma company. All of them in AI budget. This is not a small trend. Reports from companies like McKinsey and Deloitte show that AI spending in healthcare is growing by 30 to 40% every year. The money is being spent, but here's the problem. Most AI projects get stuck on the pilot stage. They work nicely in a test setup. The demo looks great, but when it is time to use in a real world across the full department, it does not scale at all. Some studies say that 70 to 90% of AI pilots in healthcare never reach production. That means all the effort, time, and money stay stuck in a proof of concept. And even the project that do move forward, they take much longer than expected. What a team planned for 3 months end up taking 12 months. The budget doubles, and slowly the business case start falling apart. So here's the big point. The problem is not that AI does not work. AI works. The real problem is that companies cannot run it at scale. And if the in the next few slides, we'll see that root cause is always the same. The data layer is not ready. If we see next slide, so what happens when your data base is weak? Let us look at the business impact, not the technical side. Every A project starts with getting the data together, collecting it, cleaning it, connecting different systems. If your data is spread across many places and it is not consistent, the step alone can take 60 to 80% of your total project time. Meanwhile, your competitors who have better data pipelines are launching faster. When data is messy, your teams spend most of their time fixing data instead of building useful things. We have seen companies where data engineers spend more time cleaning and checking data than doing real work. And these costs keep adding up across every department. In healthcare, slow regions cost real money. Think about it. If a pair takes 2 weeks to process a request that should take 2 hours, patients go somewhere else. If a hospital cannot predict which patients will come back, they pay heavily penalty charges. Speed of decisions is directly equal to revenue. And if there is a risk side, if you cannot show where your data came from, you who used it, and how it was used, you are just one audit away from a big problem. Regulators are watching closely. So remember this. This is no longer a tech problem. It's a growth problem. That is a shift is thinking we all need to make. Now let's focus on the root cause. So what's really causing the gap between how much we spend on AI and what actually getting out of it? It's simple. We are building AI on top of the broken data. And we keep seeing the same four problems again and again. First, data is scattered anywhere. Different systems, different formats, nothing talk to each other. Second, systems like EHRs don't connect well, and they weren't designed to work together. So here's the thing: AI is getting smarter every day, but the data feeding it, there is still a mess, and that's exactly why AI isn't delivering real system results. So now Amit will tell you about the shift to AI agents. Yeah, Amit, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you Dhruv, for the introduction and telling about the impact of the value of the data foundation. Now, before going into the main thing, I will first talk you about the shift to the AI agents. Now, with the coming of the AI agents, the investors and the organization uh, want more from the AI. Like earlier, it was only insight. Now they want that AI can do the insights, can make the decisions, and also can take actionable operations or uh, action items on those insights and decisions. And these can be implemented in many sections. Like we can integrate that agentic uh, framework into the clinical workflow or in care delivery or in the back offices where the operational things happen, like and in analyzing the data, okay, and doing in the billing operations and any all other places. And it can be also integrated into the patient engagement layer where we can have a chatbot where based on the user's requirement, AI can book an appointment, trigger any schedule, etc. So that's why with the agentic layer, it should not only just for analysis purpose. It also for doing the perform particular actions and requirements, which will reduce the overall overhead of the operations. Now moving to the next slide. Before creating the AI layer, let's see what leaders must actually rethink. So first of all, the data. The data is not just like something that is lying in a repository. It should be something that AI can understand. And for that to happen, we have to make sure the data that are stored in various places, okay, they must come together using a dynamic pipeline and must be processed and cleaned in a way that can be fed to the AI layer so that agentic uh, framework can perform operations in a good and confident and give a confident response. So that is the first thing. Data must be think of at a dynamic pipeline which help in real time decision making. Okay. And for that to happen, we have to think of three main things. First of all, interoperability for scaling. Okay. So this, and second is the governance for trust, and third is the data quality for accuracy. And in the next slides, I will talk about in detail in for all these three. So the first one is interoperability, which actually directly impacts the speed to market, which means how how many pays you can release to the market. And yeah, that's right. Like it helps in real time exchange. Like if you have an interoperable data where multiple data sources coming together and standardizing in a way that AI can understand, then it helps in building the AI platform faster, making the decisions way faster. And it can also helps in reducing the duplicacy. So if there is a single source of truth, AI don't have to look into different data sources again and again. Okay. And the business impact of this is that we do faster deployment of the AI layer. Okay. And it also improves the healthcare decisions made by the AI. And it increases the trust of the AI decisions. And it, overall, it reduces the overhead. So AI can do more operations that can be automated. And we then only need humans for their evaluation and feedback. So this is the main thing, the interoperability. Now going to the next, the governance. Now governance is directly related to the risk control and the scale of the data, like how much AI data must be fed and to what extent we should give AI access to the data. And the risk part is that AI should not uh, uh, like not directly get access to all the personal or private data or the data that is and should not give responses that are against the compliances and policies designed by the company or the international organization like HIPAA, GDPR, etc. Okay. And for all this to happen, we should have a secure and auditable AI with proper governance compliances embedded into the architecture. Instead of they are just lying somewhere which AI just go through. It should be within the system with proper traceability. And these all things helps in proper decision making and increase the confidence of what we are building and what we are feeding to the AI. So now, once the governance and interoperability done, we move to the next thing. That is the data quality. So data quality is basically all the data they are coming from different sources. They must be transformed or filtered in a way that, like first of all, it will reduce duplicacy. Second, it should be cleaned. There should not be some gibberish data. So it should be there should be a cleaning pipeline. There should be a proper filtering of the data. All these things must happen, and this all depends upon the data of the organization they have and what are the use cases they want and what are the things they want to avoid. Okay, so this all reduce the clinical risk, okay, of the data, because incorrect data can lead to uh, can impact patient safety actually. So clinical data must be proper and accurate. Okay, it can also affect the operational risk. Okay, so if one operation holds, all the other operations after it will also hold. So there is a cascade effect. We should avoid it. And it also reduces the trust of the investors and the organization on the AI decisions. So we don't want the trust to be lower. Okay. Here we have to think about the financial operation and reputational thing when we are building the AI layer. So data foundation must be properly built. Okay. Now moving to the next slide. Uh, Here I will tell you about how the leading healthcare organizations who are implementing AI into their systems are doing it. So whatever that I have talked earlier, what Dhruv told, what I have told about data foundation, this is the same thing that they are following. They are making sure that the data is unified. There is one unified data platform for all the data sources. Okay. And then they make sure there is a proper governance uh, layer where all the governance and compliance policies data are embedded into one place. And once these are there, they by by a they make sure all the data are in a one or standardized format and these all will get the interoperability of the data and creates a good data foundation. Okay, so the next slide, I will tell you that in Inspiron's lab, how we do this thing. Can we have the next? Yeah. So in the Inspiron's lab, to do all these things, how we do it in here. So to make it happen, we first what we call the outcome. Now here, what we do, we don't just jump directly on the coding side or the architecture side. We first sit with the investors, okay, talk to them about what are their main use cases and what are their uh, leading requirements, and based on that, we create a map of how these things will going to affect their ROI and how these things will going to save their cost or bring efficiency in their operations. Okay, basically the revenue impact. And once all these things are aligned and properly documented, okay, then we move to the data foundation assessment. And here in the data foundation assessment, we look into their databases, their data storage, and where they are lying. What is the gap between? What is the gap between them? है ना? And how we have to integrate or connect to fill those gaps for proper connectivity and proper flow of the data into a single pipeline. Okay, and we also do data quality benchmarking based on the data they have. Like when we create a pipeline, like how accurate the data is, what is the consistency of data, what is the completeness and truthfulness of the data, like how truthfully we can trust the data that is coming. Okay, once we have a proper data foundation assessment, okay, then we move to the real architecture and platform design. Now, here we design the proper API layers and API layer for communication between different data to create a one data foundation, like using the FHIR, IR communication service and all these things. And how we can make the data integration real time. We design all these things and how we are going to embed the governance and security, and also doing the audit and traceability to make sure data quality is good and proper. So we design the architecture around it. And once we have a proper data foundation assessment and architecture, we move to the real execution of the part. That is accelerated execution and scale. And here we not just create a demo using dummy data, we use the proper data of the organization to build a phase one, uh, what I say, phase one demo that use the real data with the uh, real implementation with real pipeline flowing through it and showing the real results of how this data is impacting the use cases that we discuss in the step one, and how and they can so the investors can see that how actually it's affecting the ROI based on the metrics they have defined. Okay, so and it's not just a one-time thing. We show it to the stakeholders. They give us the feedback. We optimize the process. So this is a loop that's keep on once they are satisfied with the result. Okay. And once we have this setup, then last is just the value realization and optimization. Here we just track the ROI. Okay. They don't find metrics. Okay. We and then just the models, the data input at all. And how once something is stable, then how we are going to scale it to for more data or for production level. So here we define those things. So this is the framework or the steps we follow at InspironLabs. And we also have a framework that we call that is iHelios. And it is just the framework that I have defined earlier, but in a good architecture format. Okay. So as you can see here at bottom, we have the cloud and infrastructure. Okay. Where basically we define the what will be the infra will be used, what will the cloud services should be integrated so that in the future we can scale easily and we can use that as a data lake house and data warehouse. Okay. Now, once we have all these things set up, we look into what are all the governance and trust layer thing, like what are all the compliances policies that we have to look into, what organizations suggest. Are there any that are missing that we have to include? So we have a proper compliance team who look into all these things and help us fit those in the system. And after that, we have a data team who look into all the data and create a connector around them, if not build, and make sure that different data sources are connected using their connectors and are fed into a one single source of truth that we call that can be a data warehouse for the organization. Okay. And once we have a proper data warehouse or data lake, we can use that to feed to the AI. That is, we call the AI and intelligent layer. And here AI, we will integrate that data to the AI. For AI, that is the only single source of truth. And now we define the agentic logic, the how the AI harness environment will be built. What are the tools, MCPs, etc., and how the brain of AI will work. All these things we define here. And once we have a good stable agentic layer with all the use cases defined, we build a application, we build or we integrate it to the application of the organization. They might have some their operations or framework that we have to integrate it, or we create our own based on the requirement. So they can we can test whether it's integrating properly or not. Okay. And once the integration is there, we then last is the experience layer. It's just that how they are, how the front end or the facing client are actually utilizing it, whether it's actually helpful or for them or not, and how they are using it. So this is the architecture that we follow in InspironLabs to make sure the investors' time and money are spent properly, and the product is released as as fast as possible. So now moving to the next slide. Okay, here is the case study that will that have real data of we have implemented by helping an healthcare organization achieving the same thing. So all these things that we talked earlier, we have a real implementation and we seen a good result. Like they also have the same issues. The key challenges like for the one that we discussed, like there were no interoperability. The data was few were connected, few were not connected. Okay. The data quality issue were there. Okay. They were not properly cleaned or processed. And there was governance gap. Okay. They were not properly embedding the data within the architecture. So AI was not able to properly understand what it should do and what it shouldn't do. And these all create a highly inefficient operation or system, which lead to more problems when they integrate into their system. But with our architecture, when we implemented, we did the same process that we discussed, creating a data foundation, then integrating to the AI layer. We see a good business impact, like 25% increase in the operation efficiency. Okay. Now, most of the operations, like 25%, were handled by were like most of the were handled by AI. So their efficiency increased and they focus on other works which were can be automated. And there also see 40% increase in the uh, data processing time, because we have a new now a single source of data, so we don't have to uh, like feed AI different data sources again and again from different places. So AI can process things faster, AI will access data faster, and it can perform action faster. So these were the two main impacts that we listed here, and they are the investors and stakeholders were really happy about it. Yeah, like yeah, actually AI is really helpful. So there is the thing. And now in the next slide, Dhruv will tell you about the 90-day execution roadmap of how we actually go from use cases to a real launch pilot. So Dhruv, hand over to you.
Thank you, Amit, for such a wonderful information. So, let me share a quick story before we get into this. We work with the hospital chain, 5 hospitals, around 800 beds. They build an AI model to predict which patients will come back after being sent home. The model worked great in testing, but in real life, it kept giving wrong answers. We checked. The model was fine. The problem was with data. The patient's records were in one system, lab results in another. Nothing was connected. The AI was not only seeing part of the picture. No wonder it failed. So we did not touch the AI, we fixed the data first. In 30 days, we found the gap. In 60 days, we connected the system and cleaned the data. In 90 days, we ran the same model again. Same AI, nothing changed. But now it was getting clean and full data. Accuracy went from 58% to 87%. Not because of better AI, because of better data. Now let me show you how you can do the same thing. Month 1, find out where you stand. Pick one or two problems that matter most. Do not try to fix everything. Maybe it's the claim denials, maybe it's the patient fault, just the biggest pain point. Then check the system. What is connected? What is sitting alone? Where is data missing? Get your business, clinical, and IT teams in one room and get clear on where things stand now. Month 2, build the base. Set up clear ownership. Who is in charge of which data? Who fixed it when it breaks? Give people clear roles. Then fix the biggest data problem. Not everything, just one blocking your project. Duplicate records, missing codes, wrong formats, or fix what matters now. Month 3, go live. Launch a real pilot, but build in that way that you can grow it later. Not just for one team, but across the whole setup. Set clear targets before you start. How will you measure success? Faster processing, fewer errors, better results. Know your numbers from day one. Remember that hospital chain did not buy the new AI. They just fixed the data in 90 days. And everything changed. Start small, build strong. That is a formula. And as Amit mentioned, little explanation about IELOS and major principles. Let me close with 5 simple takeaways. 1. A success depends on your database. It's not about which model do you use. It's about how your good your data is. 2. When your system can talk to each other smoothly, you can go to the market much faster. Third, good governance builds trust. When people trust the data, they trust the AI, and adoptions become easy. Fourth, quality is the most direct thing that decide whether your AI gives right answer or wrong answer. Fifth, if you want quick returns from AI, fix your data first. This is the fastest path to grow. And so it's now let's back to Rish for the slides. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit, and thank you, Dhruv, for those insightful perspectives. That was very practical walkthrough of how a strong data foundation enables scalable AI and healthcare. Before we move into Q&A, I had like to take time a minute to highlight why organization choose our partner with Inspiron Labs. At Inspiron Labs, our approach is centered around delivering measurable outcomes, not just experimentation. What differentiates us really comes down to four key areas. First one is like deep healthcare expertise. We bring a strong understanding of healthcare data, ecosystems, standards, and workflows, which is critical when building AI solution in this space. Second, ROI driven AI adoption. Every engagement is aligned to business impact from day one. It's not just about building models, but about delivering value. Third, proven strategy to execution. We support the full journey from advisory and design all the way to production deployment. And finally, business technology alignment. We ensure that technology decisions are always aligned with business goals, helping organizations scale effectively. Ultimately, our focus is to help organizations move from experimentation to the enterprise scale AI impact. With that, let's move into Q&A session. If you have any question, please feel free to drop them in the chat now. We will take a minute to gather questions and address as many as we can. So while we wait for any questions, if I will start with one of that often comes up, where should organization start if their data foundation is not yet mature? So Amit or Dhruv can respond over this. Yeah, so we have one question. How do we address interoperability challenges across
Yeah.
legacy systems like
So,
EHR,
like,
labs,
if their
and
data is not
claims
mature,
without
okay.
major
So basically, we
disruptions?
have to look into what, like, where in what places that, okay. So, like, you can hear me, right? Properly. Hello, hello.
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes, Amit. Can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, like, regarding the question, so there is a format. Like, suppose we have different healthcare data. Like they mentioned, we have labs data, claims data, or EHR data. So for that, we can follow different. For that specific use case, we have a communication uh, way that we that I called like that is generally called FHIR. Okay, so FHIR stands for Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resource, and it is an I think HL7 standard to share electronic healthcare information, and it is a very good way to communicate, and it use modern RESTful APIs, and I think it also prefer uh, RESTful API with JSON format. So this will help without changing any major data sources. Their what I say major data sources format. We can just send those things via FHIR so that they come together into a single format, and that is standardized, and it is very good and very efficient, and it's also that AI can understand. So that is one way for the healthcare data.
Yeah, so we have one more question, and that is how can organization balance AI innovations with governance, compliance, and data privacy requirements? So Dhruv, you can respond over this.
Yeah. So honestly, it start with your data. If your data is messy, inconsistent, or sitting in silos, no amount of AI is going to fix it, right? Get your data foundation first, right? Second, don't treat the governance as something you add later. Back it in form from the beginning. Think about who owns the data, who can access it, and how you're tracking everything. If you do this early, it actually speeds things up instead of slowing you down. And where it comes to privacy, there are practical ways to handle it. You can use synthetic data or use techniques like federated learning where the data never been leaves its source. Lastly, regulations are changing fast, so your system need to be flexible enough to adapt. So that's from my side. Thanks.
Okay, so feel free to drop your questions, everyone. We will be answering in the comments. Thank you, everyone, for your questions and participation. And once again, thank you, Amit and Dhruv, for sharing your expertise. We hope today's session gave you a clear, practical perspective on how interoperability, governance, and data quality come together to enable scalable AI in healthcare. As mentioned earlier, we will be sharing the session recording and additional resources with you shortly. If you like to continue the conversation or explore how Inspiron Labs can support your initiatives, we will be happy to connect. Thank you once again for joining. Signing off, Rudri Shundwal. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.